Right. He's left a pile of deflections in the wake, and even many of our liberal media colleagues aren't buying it. Everything from the timeline that's been screen captured by so many of the blogs, the Breitbart Empire, Patarico, Ace of Spades, Virum Serum. There's so many on the ground who were actually doing work over this holiday weekend that we have to thank for this. And of course, now so many in the mainstream media cannot ignore it anymore. And there were questions today that were not followed up on that certainly need to be answered at some point, particularly the reference that he made in one particular tweet to Seattle. You know, he was telling his followers that he was going to be on another TV show, and he wanted to let people know what time it was in Seattle. And of course, he's brushing that off as some sort of pure coincidence when it doesn't make any sense. And, you know, there's a theory, it's a phrase that's been batted around a lot over the last couple of days called Occam's razor, and that is that the simplest explanation is usually the right one. And it is very convoluted to believe that some sort of weird hacking took place, a hacking that he doesn't really seem to be all that concerned about, when the most simplest explanation would be, for those who use Twitter, that he accidentally sent this out publicly when he meant to send it out privately, and if not him, then somebody who he knew had access to his account.
Well, Democrats seem to be getting angrier because, you know, this is taking away from their fear-mongering, scaring Granny and Grandpa and the meta scare. So maybe there'll be a little pressure from his fellow scared grandma Democrats. But, Michelle, good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
You bet.
And coming up, a bus tour and then a bombshell announcement from two leading conservatives have many speculating that a very interesting showdown could take place in 2012. When we come back, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, she'll be here to respond. And then, well, mark your calendars. This Friday, I will be talking to the former Alaska governor herself. Fox News contributor Sarah Palin will be right here on Hannity, Friday night, 9 Eastern. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin's One Nation bus tour is taking the East Coast by storm. Now, already she's made stops at some of America's most historic landmarks, including the Statue of Liberty in New York, the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. And additionally, she was the talk of the town here last night after she was caught, well, splitting a pizza with billionaire Donald Trump. Now, all of this is ramping up discussions that she may throw her hat in the 2012 race. But as those rumors swirl, many conservatives are continuing to keep an eye on my next guest, Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, particularly after this exchange with George Stephanopoulos yesterday on Good Morning America. Take a look.
You sure sound like a candidate. Is there anything that could stop you from running at this point?
Well, we'll be making our announcement, George, next month, and we'll be making it in the city where I was born, conveniently enough in Waterloo, Iowa. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll let you all know when that comes.
Well, I don't think you go to Waterloo, Iowa, the city where you were born, to say you're not running for president. So that's a good start right now.
Here to comment on her presidential aspirations, much more, Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, Waterloo, Iowa. Congresswoman, why would you make it there if you're not running?
Well, it's a wonderful town, Waterloo, Iowa, the place where I was born. Of course, that's where a girl would go to give her answer one way or another.
All right. Well, where are you in the process? You know, give us a little insight into leaning for, leaning against. You've been out on the road. You've been in New Hampshire, South Carolina, Iowa a number of times. So where are you in this process?
Well, we're deep in the process. We're right at the very end, I think, toward the finish line. I've spent months at this, Sean. Everything I've done, I've put a lot of thought into, and I've been very deliberate about this. I've been consulting with my advisors. We've been putting our resources together. I raised more money than any other candidate in the first quarter, including Mitt Romney. And so we've done very well. I've been in South Carolina numerous times, New Hampshire and Iowa both this weekend. We've had a lot of support and encouragement to run. And so we'll let you know very shortly. In fact, we'll send you an invitation to come with us if you'd like to.
Who do you think are the strongest competitors right now in the race?
Well, I think the strongest competitor right now is Barack Obama. That's the only competitor that I'm looking at right now, and I think I come up very favorably. I have a strong background. I started a successful company and ran that together with my husband. We've created jobs. We've been very successful, and I'm a former federal tax litigation attorney. I understand the tax code. We created a charter school. We started it. It's been very successful. We raised 23 foster children. I have a wide berth of experience, and I think what I want to focus on is making making things in America again and American job creation. So I think I have a very favorable comparison with Barack Obama.
What do you think about Governor Palin and her bus tour? There's been a lot of speculation that she might run. I was there at an event in your home state. Governor Palin was there as well. I was covering it for Fox, and we did a show together. And you're obviously good friends. Deep admiration that I know you have for her. Right. Does that make a difference to you if she gets in the race?
You know, my decision is completely independent of what Governor Palin chooses to do or not to. I want to say that we are friends, and I consider her a good friend. And I think that she is making wonderful contributions to our country. And I'm thankful that she's doing the tour. She's bringing attention to our nation's heritage, and that's all positive. I welcome all candidates in this race. I know that the Republicans will field excellent candidates for 2012. Barack Obama has to be a one-term president, and it will be up to the voters to decide who they believe will be best in taking on this president.
You know, what I've been saying, and it's funny because the media has their own spin. Oh, this is a weak field of candidates. Oh, Barack Obama's great. I mean, they've never done any good investigative work. They don't ask him tough questions. They never have. But when you really break it down to its brass tacks, every single day he has been president, the economy has had a bad day. I mean, we've not had a good one. His promises of recovery have been wrong. And, you know, no matter how favorably they spin it, every economic metric is horrible. So
well, it's true. It's true. The president can't get away from his failed report card on dealing with the economy and job creation. President Reagan had created 1 million jobs a month. President Obama saw 38,000 jobs created in this recovery. And I was at the White House today with President Obama. 3 times the president was asked, will you put forward a Medicare plan to save Medicare because it will be broke in 13 years? 3 times the president said no, he has no plan to put his plan forward. The fact is the president stole $500 billion out of Medicare to shift it into Obamacare, a system that's raising all of our health care prices. So the president has failed. You're exactly right, Sean. On every metric, the president has failed. That's why I believe he will be, Sean, a one-term president. We need a strong, bold, constitutional conservative to take him on and hold him accountable for his failed record.
What did you, as you look at the field right now, and we've got Tim Pawlenty and Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney, who will be on this program. He's announcing tomorrow, and Rick Santorum and Herman Cain and Ron Paul and Gary Johnson, and I know I'm missing somebody, but, you know, what do you think distinguishes you from these other candidates that you feel that you need to get into this race because you think you would be the better candidate?
Well, I think I offer the whole package to people, from the views that I've taken to my background that I have, and also I think the fact that I've been a fighter. Everywhere I've gone, when I was in the Minnesota State Senate and here in the United States Capitol, I haven't sat back. I've entered into the fray, and I have a strong, proven record of taking on President Obama, of taking on Nancy Pelosi, to try and advance the principles that I think that most Americans agree on. I believe in a strong economy and strong job creation. I've done it in the private sector. I've fought for it here in Washington. That's what I bring to the table.
I don't know if you saw our earlier report, but we brought up the issue. One of the women in question was watching the debate right here on this program between you and Anthony Weiner, and that's how she first, I guess, got involved with Congressman Weiner on this, Weinergate scandal, whatever you want to call it. Any comment about the handling of that, and what do you think should happen?
Well, you know, I really haven't followed the scandal very much, but I think this will be up to my colleague Anthony Weiner. He'll have to make his statement, and I think from the little bit that I've heard, I have great sympathy for his wife. This has to be a very difficult time. All
right, Congresswoman, good to see you. We'll be looking for Waterloo, Iowa, and the date is?
I'll let you know very soon.
All right, well, let us know. Give us a heads up. Good to see you, Congresswoman. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Sean.
And coming up, the Casey Anthony murder trial is underway in Florida. Next, what her defense attorney says really happened to her, well, 2-year-old daughter, and what brought her mother to tears on the witness stand. That much more straight ahead. All right, the twists keep coming in the Casey Anthony trial in Florida. She is charged with killing her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee, back in 2008. Now, Casey has pleaded not guilty, and her defense team is arguing that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the family swimming pool. Her attorney also claims that Casey sustained years of sexual abuse by her father and brother. And yesterday, Casey's mother, Cindy Anthony, broke down on the stand when prosecutors played the 911 call that she made to report that her granddaughter was missing.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff saying I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. And she just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car. George King, listen. Casey's missing. Casey's missing. He took her a month ago.
And today, Casey's brother Lee took the stand for the prosecution. Joining me now with reaction, former LAPD detective, Fox News contributor Mark Furman, and Jennifer Barringer, an attorney consulting with Casey Anthony and her defense team. All right, that call was made how many days after the child went missing?
I believe that was 31 days.
Nobody reports 31 days after.
No. And in the opening, Jose was explaining that there is no missing 31 days because actually Kaylee had died 31 days earlier on the 16th of June.
All right. But this didn't come up until late, because I remember the jailhouse conversations with the mother and father, et cetera, and all that has gone on. And the big bombshell that came out is this claim of abuse, and nobody heard about that.
That's right. Well, the defense kept a very tight ship. I mean, we really locked it down, and we didn't do any interviews, and we didn't give out anything. So basically, you heard everything that came out in the opening. Everything. No one had heard of any of these things
All
before,
right.
so.
You know, here's, Mark, as we look at this case, you're a great investigator. I look at this case, you look at this case. Here's 31 days later. And then they claim the child died drowning. They had not said that originally. Then you got pictures of the mother. Supposedly, she thinks her daughter's dead or missing. She's dancing, she's partying, she's carrying on. What's your take on this?
Well, Sean, the connections that have so many holes. If you have an accidental death, and we're to believe the defense's opening statement, and the mother actually found a floating child that accidentally drowned, and she covered this up because she was abused as a child, sexually and otherwise abused as a child, and she's got a pathological personality disorder, she still showed love for the child. She still showed affection. Where is the grief? Where is the disconnect there? You have an accidental death. Instead of going into seclusion and just being sad, she goes out partying. The child is in the trunk of her car at least once, if not twice.
Yeah.